Building a better exercise bike with robotics. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from TrueKinetix, a Dutch company, is founder and CEO Bas van Rens. Good to see you, Bas.
Hi, Fred. Good to see you too.
Give us the overview of what TrueKinetix is all about and how you are so very different.
Well, so TrueKinetix started basically when I was a very avid triathlete, and I was trying to improve my cycling splits, doing a lot of intervals indoors. I was running an international company, so I was also traveling a lot, spending a lot of time in gyms, and I really, really hated cycling indoors. And every time I talked to people about how my power was a lot lower when I was cycling indoors and how my legs hurt in a very different way, everybody said, yeah, it's because it's warm and it's boring. And I came to the conclusion that's not at all the problem. The problem is that the forces that you have on your pedals when you're riding indoors are very different from what you experience outdoors. And that goes back to the weight of the flywheel. All these manufacturers are boasting about their flywheel. I have a 50-pound flywheel. I have a 30-pound flywheel. The problem is, if you do the math, I'm a mechanical engineer by training, if you do the math, then the inertia that that flywheel gives you is equivalent to about 15 to 20 pounds of weight. So that kind of creates a simulation of you together with your bike, which is typically 10 pounds, 20 pounds anyway, of about 15 to 20 pounds as opposed to 200, or in my case, far above 200 pounds. So it's like doing shot put with a tennis ball. If you paint it black, it looks quite similar to a shot put, but if you do it all winter, you kind of understand that you'll not get any better at shot put. You need to wait. And that's true for cycling as well, right? If you're cycling is a combination of endurance and force. So it's a force endurance sport. And so if you're going up a hill, you really need to force in your legs to be able to power through. So what you're doing on the conventional indoor trainers, you're basically training your endurance, but you're not training your strength. So what we did, we said, okay, in reality, a flywheel shouldn't be 30 pounds. It shouldn't be 50 pounds. It actually, if you do the math, it should be 1,000 pounds. And I first set off to actually build an indoor trainer with 1,000-pound flywheel. And as I was doing the math, what the axle needed to be, what the bearings needed to be, I was thinking, wait a minute, how do I get 1,000 pounds up to my attic? And how do I keep it there so that at night it doesn't end up in my bed with me under it?
And if you have a company, how do you ship it?
yeah, and that was the other thing. But actually, when I started doing it, I just wanted to have a better mousetrap for myself to beat the competition. I didn't care about anybody, about having it go worldwide, right? So I thought, let's just do it. And then I realized there's no way you can get 50 pounds to 1,000 pounds. There's no way that you're ever gonna bridge that gap this way. So you need to do something else. And then I came up with the idea of using robotics. So we actually eliminated all the inertia in our system. So we don't have a flywheel, actually have wheels that are as light as possible. And we have a very strong motor from a small car. And we drive it with measurements that go up to 10,000 times a second. So we very accurately predict what you're going to do as a human being. We use artificial intelligence for that. And then we counter that action, that pedal force very accurately to mimic what you feel outside.
Really interesting. So it sounds like it was a real challenge, and you assembled a team to put this together. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I started first year. It was just me in my attic, and at some point I got funding, and then I started to assemble a team. And right now we're 25 people. Very international teams, very cool. We all work on site because it's a physical product. You have to have your hands on it, you have to be on it, you have to feel it. And obviously first you get all the tech guys in there, and then once you get a product, you discover that even though you have a great product, people still don't buy it because they don't know you have it, right? So then we started to build the marketing team, and that's where we are right now. So
it's called TrueBike. Give us the overview of the experience, how it's really different for people who are, the indoor cycling is pretty big now, especially during the pandemic. It's grown tremendously. A lot of companies out there, some are dominant. So how do you differentiate and sell this to the consumer?
Well, what we try to explain to people is if you get on a conventional indoor bike, people recognize this, that if you cycle away, if you get on the bike and start cycling, and that can be any indoor bike, it can be a spinning bike, or it can be an indoor trainer, a smart trainer. People typically recognize that within 1 or 2 pedal strokes, they are up to speed, right? So you start pedaling and you're immediately at the pace, at the cadence that you want to be at. And in reality, if you if you're cycling outdoors, if you pull away from a stoplight, you really have to get going, right? You really have to pick up speed and accelerate. The same goes if you're traveling at a certain speed and somebody passes you by, you want to get into their wheel, you really have to jump. You really have to put effort into accelerating yourself. And that is exactly the problem that we solve. So on a TrueBike, when you start cycling, you really have to put the work in to accelerate yourself. You know, when you create an account, you enter your weight, you enter the weight of your bike, and that weight is used to calculate how much power you have to put in to accelerate away or to increase or decrease your speed. And that also means that people on a current bike, they really feel like they're struggling. It really feels like you're struggling to keep the bike going, right? In the dead point, when your pedals are vertical, you really have to keep pushing to not make the bike slow down completely. And with that weight, with that inertia, with the TrueBike, with the robot, it just flows through there. So the ride is much smoother, so you can last much longer. And also, since you can put in much more force, you don't push through the pedal, you just get stronger. And the funny thing is that once we get people on the bike, you know, this is a nice story, but when we get people on the bike, 75% of the people buy the bike right there and then. So once you feel it, you're sold.
Terrific. So tell me about the model here for consumers who are interested in this. They can purchase a bike. Is it a subscription? Are there classes involved like there are to subscribe to, or how does this all come together?
So it comes together as a really an individual training device right now. We are looking at building team workouts in the future, but right now we connect to all the standard training platforms like ERG, Swift, Rouvy. They are apps that you connect your app to the bike, and then the app gives you the workout. And when you purchase the bike, you can buy it right away, or you can also rent it for a monthly fee. And then as you rent it, 90% of your rental fee goes towards a future purchase if you so desire at some point to buy the bike.
Tell me about availability now. Where would people go to be able to purchase or subscribe to it?
Well, right now we're in Europe, and we're expanding into Europe, and we're looking for distributors and investors to help us get started in the US, because there's a lot of demand from the US. But right now we are still, especially with the problems that we're having with getting parts, like everybody else in the industry right now, we're building we're actually starting to build a hub in the US.
So you're hoping to have them available later this year in the US?
Yeah, later this year. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, because we have to be there. The US is the biggest indoor cycling market there is.
What will pricing look like?
The pricing is around 4,000 US right now, 3,500 euro, so around 4,000 US, and that's probably where it will stay. It's a more complete bike. It's a different bike. It's a much more realistic bike. You get a screen with it that gives you a lot of feedback. So yeah.
Is there much in the way of maintenance that's needed?
No. It's got a chain because you're transferring a lot of force from your pedals to the motor. So we cannot get away with a multi V belt or any kind of V belt type of drivetrain for the primary drivetrain. So the chain needs to be lubricated. There's a lubrication point. You pull away a little door, you drip some oil on there, and you're good to go.
Who do you think your typical customer is going to be? Is it just a hardcore cycling enthusiast, or Or are you going
well,
for the more the fitness crowd?
Yeah, we're actually seeing a lot of response from the fitness crowd. Because I was a triathlete and I was gung ho. I participated in Kona, so I was full blown. So we started out targeting those triathletes, and they were great to have as a first customer group. But right now, the real hardcore triathletes are about less than 10% of our customers, and a lot of them of our customers right now, we call them fit riders. They're between 35 and 75. A lot of old people also, because they feel cycling outdoors is just becoming too dangerous, and they just want to stay fit, stay healthy, and they understand that maintaining fitness is also about maintaining muscle mass. So you need to load your muscles. So that is really the target group: male, females between 35 and 75.
Terrific. So for more info, where do we go?
We go to www.TrueKinetix.com, and you can find all the info there. It's all in English. So yeah, and drop us a note if you want to be informed when we're available in the US.
Terrific. Again, it's TrueKinetix.com. Bas van Rens, thank you for taking the time with us.
Thank you. It was fun to do.